Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're doing our Awkward Chats podcast preview.
Yeah, we're going to be on the big bus and talking about that in San Francisco.
Rice-A-Roni.
So come get lost with us.
San Francisco treat. Yeah, so welcome back to another On the Road episode, as you can see by the backdrop.
Yeah, we're on the road, and we're talking about our trip to San Francisco. Definitely a legit spoiler here is that we had a great time in San Francisco.
We really did, and there are going to be tons of videos up on the channel, so if you guys want to physically watch all the crazy adventures we had and everything we're going to talk about today, because this is going to be a little bit more in-depth than what we show on the channel, go check it out.
Yeah, so if you want to watch us on YouTube, it's Lostgirlintomorrowland, and if you want to listen to our podcast or watch our podcast, it's Awkward Chats, and that's anywhere you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple, wherever.
Wherever. We're everywhere.
Right? So we're going to talk about the big bus, right? And the big bus is in most major cities that are touristy.
Yeah.
You'll see like a huge bus that goes around and it stops at specific places and kind of gives you the opportunity to see the city all in like an enclosed sort of
ride
loop.
Adventure.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about like, well, how am I going to Uber from here to there necessarily? But they had one in New York City, which we did not do. They have them in Las Vegas, and I'm pretty sure they have them anywhere there's like a lot of touristy things kind of clustered together.
Agreed.
And San Francisco wasn't any different. However, I will preface it with this. San Francisco is bigger than you think it is. And the bus from start to finish was 3 hours.
Well, this will blow your mind too. It's like bigger and smaller than you think it is. It's kind of definitely a weird quagmire San Francisco is.
Yeah, if you're just in a car driving from point A to point B, it's actually pretty quick. But on the bus, it took 3 hours to do the circle. And we didn't know that when we started our bus adventure. We had the idea, we bought the bus so we could see the lay of the land, kind of get an idea of what we wanted to see, what we wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And then we would take it to the second round and we would get off. We learned you can't do that on the big bus in San Francisco because it starts at about 10 a.m. and it finishes at 5 p.m.
I think it actually starts at 11 a.m.
Somewhere in there.
But yeah, it's only open for like 6-7 hours max.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, so we're going to take the bus. We took it all the way around. Now, one thing, they forgot to give us the headphones when we got on the
they didn't
bus.
give us any headphones. And we're like up there, they started the bus trip and I'm like, are they talking or like, are they because I don't know what's going on. So it's just us in the wind. We're just like, this is fun. When are we going to know when we get to a stop? Because like they stop. But you don't know if it's like a stop, and we're just like, okay, this is cool. I don't know what I'm looking at.
So legit tip, make sure to grab those headphones when you get on the bus so you have an idea of what's going on. Now, the tour was kind of neat. It did tell stuff about the city. You kind of learned some interesting facts.
Very generic, though.
Yeah, it's very generic. The bus stops. Now, we'll start with the bus stops. They were bad.
Yeah, majority of the bus stops were not marked.
So you don't really know where the stops are going to be. I taped all of them on our camera, so you'll see if you watch our video on Lost Girl in Tomorrowland, you'll actually see all of the bus stops for San Francisco. It's kind of weird because they're not near what they talk about. Now, a great example of that is the Painted Ladies. So the Painted Ladies are the opening of Full House. If you're a 90s kid, you know Full House. You know the Painted Ladies is basically they're in a park, and the Painted Ladies are across the street from the park, and that's the opening to Full House. That's all of our childhood memories.
Yep.
And then the actual house that they have for Full House, the outside of it, is supposed to be close to that. Mm-hmm. Neither of those things are true, in case you're wondering. But the bus tour makes it seem like they are.
They actually drop you off on a sketch alleyway about 3 blocks away, and downhill.
And it smells like sewer.
To get there, you got to walk uphill. And it's a little confusing, in all honesty. And the only reason we figured it out is because we actually took an Uber to the location.
Well, so we took the bus around the city, right? So we did the whole full tour. It was awesome going across the Golden Gate Bridge.
Which was psycho, actually. That part was psycho. The first one.
That kind of makes it worth it to me. If you're going to do this, that is the best part of the trip. was going over the Golden Gate Bridge. By far was the best thing that we did.
Yeah. It was
on the bus.
It was definitely interesting. He was on the outside, I was on the inside, and I was fearing for my life because the first time we went over going about 65 miles an hour.
Yeah, that bus was like remember the cab ride from Scrooged? And Bill Murray's in the back and he's like,
that's what it felt like.
That's what it felt like going over that bridge.
Completely unhinged. Like it was scary. I was fearing for everything. Cause you're high, like that bridge is high and then it's just water and we're not buckled in. There's no buckles on this bus. You're in an open thing. If he hit a bump going fast enough, people would have flown. I mean, it was scary for like a second. And then he slowed down because he saw the cop. And on our way back the opposite way, he was only going about 30.
Which the speed limit is 35 on the bridge, in case you're wondering. And you've never been there. So that was amazing. We got back to the
views were amazing too, yeah.
The views were amazing, yeah. We got back to the beginning and we got off the bus because you have to get off the bus at the beginning and switch buses because it doesn't just keep going, which is definitely
fascinating.
Interesting piece to it too. So we got off the bus and we're standing there. We're like, do we want to ride this again?
Yeah.
Or do we want to just take an Uber to the couple spots that we wanted to go to because it'll be quicker? And we're like,
yeah.
Uber, because it was already at that point. Let's see.
I think it was 1 o'clock because we
I think it was like 1:30. Yeah, that we got back there, and it was already that, and it closes at 5. So we're like, all right, let's grab a bite to eat. So we went to Bowden's, which so good. Watch that on our YouTube channel.
Best food we had in San Francisco.
Sourdough. Well, the Chinese food was really tasty too. I don't know. Yeah. We had a few good meals.
Yeah.
But Bowden was definitely really good. We went upstairs and had the fancy dining experience, which, in case you didn't know, Bowden's has 2 different experiences.
There's an upstairs and there's a downstairs. Downstairs is like a quick service, like Panera-esque style with like sandwiches, soup, salads, nothing crazy.
Upstairs is like fancy, which we weren't dressed for.
No, we were not. We were just like, hey, what's up? I heard you got food and I have money.
The steak sandwich was fantastic.
Yeah, it was delicious.
The bread, to die for.
So then we were like, okay, do we want to go hunt down these locations? Because we had a handful of locations that we wanted to get on camera. And one of them was the Full House, which weirdly enough, people tell you is close to the Painted Ladies. It's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's a good 15-minute walk, maybe 20-minute walk of like uphill, downhill.
I think it's a 30-minute walk and it was a 10-minute ride.
Yeah, the streets of San Francisco are insane. I don't know how people do it, but
we wanted to go to Chinatown because we wanted to see we found that they had a fortune cookie place, which was awesome seeing.
And then we wanted to see the Painted Ladies, and then maybe go back to Tiffany's.
Well, no, and then maybe we had museum was the next one, but yeah, you did add Tiffany's when you saw that at the bus stop.
Yeah, there's a Tiffany's in San Francisco, and we didn't go to Tiffany's, so spoiler alert there, we didn't go. But
so we took a cab or an Uber, Lyft, whatever. Took that to Chinatown, went to the fortune cookie place. Really cool.
The fortune cookie place was amazing, honestly.
The fortune cookies were super tasty too.
And it was really cool watching them hand make these fortune cookies. And legit tip, didn't know this going into it, found out later, you can have like a custom fortune made and put into a cookie.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're looking for a cute way to propose to someone, I mean, why wouldn't you just put, like, will you marry me in a fortune cookie? I mean, that's really cute, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Or, like, happy anniversary. Or, like, put, like, little memories or something and have them open up all the cookies. I mean, it's a romantic gesture, just saying. But they were fresh, hot off the press, delicious fortune cookies.
And you get free ones, too. They give you free unfolded fortune cookies, too, just for going there. So worth it.
Delicious. Best fortune cookies I've ever had.
And then Chinatown was really cool to see. It reminded me of like a Jackie Chan, like New York City scene with like he's in Chinatown and you're like looking at China. It was really kind of really cool.
Definitely out of my element. I don't speak any other language really other than English. So, but I think it would be awesome to explore that area further. They do have like food tours of Chinatown, which I think maybe might be something we explore the next time we go to San Francisco.
And we're going to talk about different tours too later in their podcast. So if you're on YouTube watching this, definitely check out Awkward Chats because we're going to talk about some of the other tours that we found too later on. But then we headed out of Chinatown. We got another
Uber
and that was an experience too. We'll talk about it. But we went to the Full House house.
Yep. We went to Full House, which is for sale again. Yeah. Didn't know that until we got there. And it doesn't quite look like it did in the show because they have repainted the outside.
And they haven't been maintaining it either. It was a little bit run down.
But you do know it is the house because everybody stops there. And there's definitely signage that says, please do not disturb. People live here. I think you accept that, though. If you buy a house that was used in production, you accept the fact that people are going to circle outside your door.
Yeah, the lady that was there was actually sneaking out to her car because they were moving. So they're in like the midst of it. She's like sneaking out and like everyone sees you. If they wanted to talk to you, they would just talk to you. I don't get it. If you buy a screen used house, I feel like that's just something you accept is that like people are going to come and see it. You either accept that and put a donation box outside or you just become a miser and that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, I would love, like, I mean, if I ever won the lottery, I would totally buy a screen used house and I would make it obviously a movie that I liked or a show that I liked. And I would try to make it like the show as much as I possibly could.
Yeah, agreed. But the house is cool.
Yeah.
We saw it. You know, it takes you like 5-10 minutes if you really love the show. If you're not vlogging it or anything, you probably take a couple of pictures and you're heading out.
Yeah.
So we're like, it's got to be close to the Painted Lady because when we were on the bus, it said like, this is where the Full House, and you've had like the song intro, and it's like, this is right here. So we look up the Painted Ladies, and it was like a 30-minute walk, and we're like, okay,
let's just get another Uber.
Do we do the walk or do we take an Uber? And it was like, let's get an Uber. So we Uber up to this park. The park was beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous park.
Gorgeous views of not only San Fran, but just like even the surrounding area you could see from the park. Really, really pretty. We're there. We got in the Full House area. We took a shot where they would have the thing. We didn't go up to the houses because it's the same exact house as the Full House house. It's just they're painted.
Yeah.
Really pretty. We get there and then we're sitting there like, okay, so where's the bus stop at?
Because we saw people from the bus that we were on that morning.
Yeah, we did.
We're like, okay, these people were definitely on the bus with us this morning. Let's go figure out where the bus stop is. And we eventually found it.
Yeah, it has an app that can semi-direct you to it. The app said that this bus stop was in front of the muraled wall, which was really just a spray-painted wall with tags on it. It wasn't a mural wall.
And it smelled bad.
And it smelled like sewage. Yeah, there was a sewage leak. Yeah, it was really nice.
And there was no signage that said, like, big bus stops here.
The only signage that you'll see is if you look at the curb, it does say no parking here for whatever
buses only or something like that.
And whatever their transportation. I think it's like AS something or something like that it'll have there. That's the only thing that's signage. There's no, like, seats. There's no, like, bus stop sign. Nope. There's no nothing.
And we waited 30 minutes for that bus.
And so they're supposed to come every 15. That's what they advertise. They're supposed to come every 15. So we walked there and it took us probably about 20 minutes to walk there from the park. So we're like, oh, we didn't see a bus because you could see the buses. We could see the road we're going to. We were up at the top of the hill. We had to get to the bottom and get to the stop. So no one came that 20 minutes. Then we get there and I'm like, okay, so there's got to be somebody close by.
And then I'm looking at the app and there's 2 buses that are eventually making their way there.
Eventually, yeah. An hour later.
So the first bus comes. Everybody loads
after an
up.
hour, by the way.
Everybody loads up onto this bus, and I was like, "There's a second bus." And sure enough, the bus driver was like, "There's a second bus coming," and I was like, "Let's go wait for the second bus." Yeah, so we got off.
Good decision.
It wasn't even 5 minutes later. The second bus showed up. Nobody was on that bus.
Yeah, there's maybe like 5 people.
Yeah, it was an empty bus.
My favorite part is they don't wait for everybody to seat because I was the last person on the bus because there was only me and her left. We get on the bus. I'm up to the back. I'm almost to my seat, and then all of a sudden he punches it. My face almost face planted into the seat. Yep. It's like no student loans, but it didn't happen. Just missed.
That's his new mantra.
If I had lost some teeth, there'd be no student loans. So
then he'd be like, toothless Gary.
They pay for my veneers and my student loans. That's all I need. So we went over the bridge again. And so the reason why we got back on the bus is we had a decision to make. Either we go to a museum, which we were looking at, there's an aquarium on the pier, which was like $35, or we go to the Museum of Science in San Francisco, which was $45.
But here's the kicker. They both closed at like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, what's up, San Francisco? Why does everything close so early?
And I think it was 4:30 at that point. And we were like, by the time we get there, it's going to be 5, and then we're going to get, what, an hour?
Yeah. So we were like, well, one thing we can do, you can hear the grandfather clock. One thing we can do is go over the bridge again. And we already paid for that, so why not go over the bridge one more time?
So we did.
and it was fun. I love the bridge.
It was a lot of fun. The bridge was probably the best part of that tour.
You could see Alcatraz. You can get the change of temperature.
Oh yeah, it's cold.
The view. It's not as high as the Pat Tillman Bridge in Las Vegas that looks at the Hoover Dam, but it is super high above the water, which was really cool.
I will say this though, on our second go round coming back from the bridge, I did hear about Lucas Arts.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That's supposed to be somewhere around here. So it did inspire us to do another adventure in that area the next day or maybe the day after.
Yeah, and if you want to hear about that, definitely Awkward Chats podcast.
Yeah. So.
But the bus tour, was it worth it? I guess it comes down to, because we got back, and that was the end. It was 5 o'clock. That was close.
I think the bus tour is worth it if you don't have any plans for the day and you're fully committed to the bus. I would say that. I would preface it with that. If you have to be fully committed to the bus. If you're somebody who's interested in the financial district, it did spend a lot of time down there. So if you're really into like the big old buildings that they have down in the financial district, perhaps. I would say the stop for Chinatown isn't really close to Chinatown. And honestly, none of the other stops outside of the financial district and the Presidio, where it stopped over at the Presidio in the Walt Disney Family Museum, those are really the only 2 stops that were relatively close to anything. Everything else, you're going to be walking a decent amount.
I would just say, honestly, if you want to go over the Golden Gate Bridge in a very cool experience, yes. Otherwise, no.
So take that for what it is.
No. Because it would be so much easier just to Uber and stuff, in my opinion. It would save you money and you'd have a better experience.
And we didn't have a rental car this go around because we weren't going to rent a car. So that was also another reason why we decided to do the bus transportation system, because we didn't have a car. So keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. So that's going to be it for the bus part of our podcast.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us on Awkward Chats, we'll be back in a moment. But if you're listening to it on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up if you liked it.
And if you guys want to hear more about our San Francisco trip, make sure you check out the podcast in full because we're going to be talking about it.
Yeah, and you can also subscribe to that channel.
And ring that notification bell so you get notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get y'all for the next one.
Ain't that the truth, baby Ruth?
Bye, everyone.
Bye.